Dear students, in the previous science class we have seen the different types of roots, and today we are going to see the different types of stems and how the plants are adapted to survive in mountains and deserts. Okay. So first we will see stems. So in the lower classes, in class 3 you have studied the functions of stem. What are the functions of stem? Stem holds the plant straight and also it transports water absorbed by the roots to different parts of the plant, and we know the leaves prepare food for the plant, and that food also transported to all the parts of the plant by the stem. And when the stem is big and large in size, we call that as trunk. Okay. So the trunk helps to transport food to all parts of the plant and also water absorbed by the roots to all parts of the plant. Okay. A stem transport water and nutrients absorbed by the roots to all parts of the plant. And when a plant grows into a tree, the stem grows into a trunk. Okay. When the plants grow, that becomes a tree, that time the stem grows into a trunk. Trunk transports food produced by the leaves to the other parts. So some stems are hard and strong while others are soft and tender. Some stems are very hard, trunk is very hard, but some plants have tender stems. Stems are classified into 4 types and we will see one by one. The first one is woody stems. So in that the stems are very hard and they are brown in color. They are very thick, hard and brown in color. For example, you have seen mango tree, jackfruit tree, isn't it? Teak tree. So these all have big trunk and they are very thick and they are very hard, and we cannot bend it, we cannot break it, and they are very strong. So strong and hard stem some plants have. Plants like mango tree, jackfruit tree, they have very hard and thick trunk. Okay, such plants are comes under woody stems. Okay, so woody stems are very thick, hard and brown. For example, mango tree, rose plant, etc. Then the second one is underground stems. Some stems grow under the ground and they store food in the stems. For example, onion, ginger, potato. The stem of the plant store food. They grow below the ground. They grow below the soil and they store food. Okay, underground stems grow under the ground and they store food. For example, ginger and potato. See here the picture of ginger. Then next one, herbaceous stems. Herbaceous stems means the stems are very thin and tender. Very thin and they can be bent easily. For example, coriander leaves, mint leaves. You are familiar with the coriander leaves and mint leaves. So when you observe the stem, we know that is very soft. The stems are very soft. They are tender stems and we can easily bend it. Okay, such stems are coming under herbaceous stems. So the stems are thin, soft and can be bent easily. For example, mint and onion. So mint leaves. Okay, this is also herbaceous plant. The stem is very tender. We can bend it. Okay, we can break it and we can bend it. Next one, aerial stems. Aerial stems grow above the ground and modified as tendrils and thorns. We are familiar with the pea plants, isn't it? Bitter gourd. This all we are familiar. So in such plants, we know some portions are there. What do we say? Tendrils are there. Spring-like structures we can see in such plants. Spring-like structures, they are used to climb on other plants. They are used to climb on other plants. So some plants have tendrils. So they are coming under aerial stems. The stems are modified as tendrils, and in some plants like rose, they are modified as thorns. Some thorns are there on the stem. So what is the purpose of thorn? The thorn used to protect the plant from animals. Okay, to get protection from the animals, thorns are useful. Rose plant has thorns that protect the plant from the animals. And some plants have, like a pea plant, have tendrils that is used to climb on the support. Okay, so they are called aerial stems. Stems grow above the ground and modified as tendrils and thorns. Tendrils help to climb and thorns help to protect from animals. For example, pea plant, rose plant, money plant, many plants are there. Climbers, all climbers and creepers comes under that group. So next one, adaptation in plants. What is meant by adaptation? Adaptation is the process of adjusting to the environmental conditions. In which environment the plant survive, they should adjust to that environment. That is called adaptation. So what is adaptation? Adaptation is the process of adjusting to the environmental conditions. That is called adaptation. So there are two types of plants according to their habitat. That means where they are found. Plants are found on land as well as in water. So the plants that live on land are called terrestrial plants, and the plants that live in water are called aquatic plants. So plants are classified into two groups according to their habitat. The plants that live on, that grow on land are called terrestrial plants, and plants that grow in water are called aquatic plants. So there are two types of plants: plants that grow on land, terrestrial plants; plants that grow in water, aquatic plants. Okay. So today we will see about terrestrial plants. Plants that are growing in the mountains and hills. Okay. So we know in winter season in mountains the climate is very cold. In winter season there is very cold climate. So the plants growing on that mountain should survive. For that they have some modifications, some adaptations. Okay, some places like Kashmir and Simla there is snowfall. So the plants should survive there. So according to the environment, the plants are modified. For example, most of the plants in mountains grow tall and straight. Pine trees, we have seen pine trees in the Vagaman and all. I think all of you have visited Vagaman and you have seen the pine trees. So what is the speciality of pine trees? What about the leaves of the pine trees? And what is the shape of the pine trees? The pine trees are cone shaped. And what about their leaves? The shape of the leaf is like a needle. So pine trees have needle shaped leaves, and the leaves have a coating of wax. A waxy coating is there for the leaves. What is the use of this waxy coating? Waxy coating helps to slide off the snow, because then when there is extreme cold, there is snowfall. So that time the snow should slide through the leaves, otherwise the leaves will rot. So for that purpose there is waxy coating for the leaves of the trees in mountains. And trees like oak and maple trees, they have broad leaves. Compared to pine trees, they have broad leaves, and during the winter season there is less sunlight. The availability of sunlight is very less. Because of that, they shed their leaves to save energy. The trees like oak and maple, they shed their leaves during the winter season to save the energy, because there is less sunlight during winter. Then mountains and hills. Mountains are very cold in winter. It snows in places like Kashmir and Simla. There is snowfall in Kashmir and Simla. So trees grow tall and straight. Pine are cone shaped, leaves are needle shaped, and waxy coating is there for the leaves to slide off the snow easily. So the trees in mountains grow very tall and straight. For example, pine trees have needle shaped leaves, and there is a waxy coating on the leaves to slide off the snow. And trees like oak and maple have broad leaves. These are pine trees, and this is the picture of maple tree, and this is oak tree, and the leaves are broad. The leaves are broad. Different types of maple trees are there. The leaves are broad, and in winter season there is less availability of sunlight, so they shed their leaves. There is less sunlight in winter. Trees shed their leaves to save energy. So in that way they survive in the cold weather. Next one, plants in deserts. So what is the feature of a desert? What are the specialities of a desert? And we know desert is a very dry, hot place, isn't it? Desert is very dry and hot region. There the scarcity of rain is there. So there the rainfall is very scanty. They get very scanty rainfall. They receive scanty rainfall. That means the availability of rain is very less. Okay, so the plants have to survive in that atmosphere. Soil in a desert is sandy and rocky, so that contains less amount of water. So the plants do not get enough water. So there is scanty rainfall and the soil is sandy or rocky, so the plants do not get enough water. So they have to reduce the loss of water. For that the plants leaves or stems are modified to reduce the loss of water. For example, in cactus plant, in your house and all there is cactus plant, isn't it? So in cactus plant the leaves are modified as spines, and in some desert plants the leaves are modified as scales to reduce the loss of water by evaporation. So in desert plants the leaves are modified into spines or scales to reduce the loss of water through the process evaporation, by evaporation. So they lose only little amount of water. The leaves are modified into spines or scales to reduce the loss of water. Okay, and some plants store water in stems and leaves. Such plants are called succulents. Some plants in the desert store water in their stems and leaves. Such fleshy stems are called succulents. Okay, such fleshy plants are called succulents. And some plants have long tap roots. Most of the plants in the desert have long tap root to absorb water from the soil, and we know in desert the water level is very low, so the root should go deep into the soil to absorb water. So they have long tap root. Examples: cacti, babool, kikar. Babool is a medicinal plant. From the toothpaste is made and it is used for the treatment of diarrhea, tonsillitis, etc. And the kikar, from that also toothpaste is made and it is used for making gums and all. That are desert plants. Okay. A desert is hot and dry and receives scanty rainfall. Soil is sandy or rocky. Because of that the plant is unable to absorb water. There is less amount of water in the soil. Some plants store water in their stems or leaves, and such fleshy plants are called succulents. Okay, what are succulents? Plants that store water in their stems or leaves are called succulents. In cactus plant, the leaves are modified into spines or scales to reduce the loss of water by evaporation. Okay. Then plants have long taproot system that go deep into the ground to absorb water. The water level of the desert is very low, so the root should go very deep to absorb water. Examples: date palm. Palm trees you are familiar. From palm tree we are getting dates, and babool and kikar. From babool is a medicinal plant. We make toothpaste. From that kikar plant we get gum. Okay. Then today's assignments. You have to write these questions in the notebook. Name the different types of stems and give one example each. First one, woody stem, mango tree. Underground stem, ginger. herbaceous stem, onion, aerial stems, pea plant. You have to write the names and also one example. And second question, what are succulents? Succulents are fleshy plants that store water in their stems or leaves are called succulents. And you have to read the textbook, okay, till you are able to read each and every word of the textbook. You have to watch the video, you have to read the textbook and understand the pronunciation of each and every word, okay. Thank you.